Season 5, Episode 4 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Litzkin. Jonathan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Sam? It looks like you're sitting in a cave there.
Yeah, because when I turn on the lights, they get really bright and
I get
shine
it.
and reflect back into the computer. And the Red Sox freaking suck.
Dude, good. I need a healthy save really bad right now for
At this
fantasy
rate,
baseball
it's not even going to
purposes.
be a save situation.
It's not? What just happened?
It's 4-2 with no outs and 2 on.
Oh, well, get out of the inning.
Well, we're in trouble there. All right. You didn't come to hear about Justin Slayton. You came to hear about the transfer portal.
Indeed.
So where we left off, we had a couple teams remaining in the Big Ten.
Mhm.
The first of which being Rutgers, who we're both pretty high on for next year.
Did we get through Penn State, or am I just
We'll do Penn State,
okay? I just didn't know. I was wondering.
but I want to
Yeah.
start with Rutgers.
Yeah. We're both pretty high on them. Would have liked them to get a real center, but they have maybe the best talent in the league.
Yeah, I think we're maybe a little bit too late for them to get a real center, but like I can talk myself into like Ogbull and Somerville giving you 20 minutes. Like not each,
No.
but that's only half of the basketball game. That's kind of my issue there. Like I don't think there's anybody on that team that can be a small ball 5. Martini's definitely not.
No.
Bailey is definitely not. Like those are your other two taller guys. But like I think you look at this roster and Martini will play, Acuff will play, Ogbull will play, Williams will play, Durkak will play, Davis will play. That's 6 plus Bailey, Somerville, and Harper. So that's a 9-man rotation. I just think they need they could use 1 or 2 more guys, just bodies in there that have some experience. I think.
Yeah, I think Rutgers is a pretty flawless team outside of the center position. Like they'll be able to shoot, they'll be able to create shots pretty easily. Obviously, we know about the 2 freshmen that have not just all Big Ten potential, but possibly all American potential, especially with Ace Bailey. And I think Peichel, obviously, there's some concern with how his teams have performed in the past offensively, but I don't know how much coaching he'll really have to do on that end when you have a guy like Ace Bailey and a guy like Dylan Harper.
Yeah, and I mean I look at Harper as like a playmaking 2 next to Jeremiah Williams. Bailey as like a stretch as like a handling 4,
Mhm.
like a point, maybe not a point forward, but like a 4 that you can give the ball to and he'll get a bucket for you, like a Banchero role, obviously not Banchero strength, but kind of like that's like the imagination of like you can give him the ball at the top of the key and let him run the offense.
Yeah, I do think that they are pretty unlimited at point guard depth, or in terms of like guys that can bring the ball up the floor for you.
Yeah, I mean, J Mike can do it, Durkak can do it, Acuff can do it, Williams can do it, and Bailey and Harper can do it.
Yeah.
That's what, 6 guys?
Yeah.
And the key is they don't all need to. They can play together. Like those 6 guys, like they can all play with 2 or 3 of the others.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the combinations that they're gonna. I really like Jeremiah Williams and JaMychal Davis. I'm very glad that they got to hold on to both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers was a complete train wreck last year for the most part, and like the good part of the season they had was when Williams came back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think JaMychal Davis really showed a lot of flashes, and I like Durkak too, but I do have a little bit of a question mark about Durkak translating immediately. I mean, he's high feel, but he did a lot of his game like kind of like a posting guard, and I don't think he'll be able to do that at this level. I don't think he'll be able to get to the rim as easily, and he's not much of a shooter. I think he'll have to do a lot of defense, so like a lot of the small stuff, and I think he will do that. I think
Mhm.
he's NEC Player of the Year. He did everything for Merrimack besides shoot the three. Like I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I think that he'll need to do different things than what he did at Merrimack, and I think Michael Davis has a ton of potential to be a really effective player for Rutgers, not just this year, but down the road. I think he's got all Big Ten potential in his junior year.
Yeah, I don't think they really brought Durkak in for the offensive purpose.
No,
Like
not even close.
he's going to be a guy that'll defend at a pretty high level and maybe give you a little as like an off-ball slasher.
And also he can play make. Like you can give him the ball and ask him. Like he turns it over a lot, but like he's high feel in terms of the way that he can find cutters and he's creative with the ball. That did lead to some turnover issues, but you ask him to do that in doses where he's not the focus of the whole defense. I think he turns it over a little less, and he can still average about 2.5 assists. I think
Hmm.
he'll average like 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and like 1.6 steals,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
maybe 7 or 8 points. I don't know. Like he took 12 shots a game last year. He probably takes half that. Penn State.
I don't really see this team improving very much from last year.
Yeah, I just it's a lot of the same,
Hmm.
and a lot of the same that I didn't like. Like I liked Ace Baldwin. I thought he had a good year. Really showed up when they needed him to. Like Kanye Clary was the team's top scorer, and I don't think they got like markedly worse without him. Like they had their best game without him. Their win against Illinois came without him. They beat Indiana and Rutgers on the road without him. So like I don't think losing him is a huge crutch. It's not I don't know if it's addition by subtraction, but it's not a huge loss. I just look at this roster as a whole, and I don't see a lot of room for growth outside of Freddie Delone.
I don't think his ceiling is very high.
It's just maybe an element that they didn't really have. Kind of a
Sure.
bigger, kind of like a bigger guard. That's not like the Jameel Brown sharpshooter type. Just like
Yeah, I
a
just
bigger like because like you're bringing back Nick Kern and DeMarco Dunn. It's like if you can get Freddie Delone to give you like maybe what you thought you were gonna get out of Raquandis Mitchell, then you can get into a much better spot.
yeah,
Because
I
like
think
Raquandis Mitchell gave you pretty much nothing last year. He had a
with
couple good games towards the end of the season,
uh
but for the most part, he gave you nothing.
I mean with Dilian, like as someone who watched him a lot of his high school tape before he like was really playing at Tennessee, and like he didn't play much this year at all. Like came off the bench like occasionally. At the end of the year, he was pretty much not playing. But as someone who watched a lot of his high school tape, like he's pretty much a non-shooter, and like yeah, he'll give you good positional size and he can defend. But like, is he even a starter for this team?
I mean, I think he's a playmaker.
There's some aspect to that, yeah.
I think that this team will have more playmaking than last year, just simply because I think Clary was such a he held on to the ball so much in late clock situations, and he didn't really turn it over a lot, but he took 30% of the shots.
Mhm.
I think you substitute Delone in for that, and you'll get more playmaking. And it's just I don't think this team is going to have a go-to scorer.
They're not.
Have you watched any of the freshmen?
I've watched Stewart once, and like I can't remember. He played for SoCal Academy,
I
but
mean, they kind of need Eli Rice to really hit shots because
I
that's
from what I remember, I don't think I was like too big of a fan of Stewart. Like I wrote his name down because like he's a nationally ranked kid, obviously, and a um going to a high major, but like I have him listed like one spot behind Lathan Somerville right now.
I mean, I think Eli Rice is really going to need to hit a lot of shots for them.
Yeah,
Like
probably.
he'll play a good deal off the bench, maybe even get some starts, and they're going to need him to hit about 100, maybe not 100 threes, but like 53s, 63s.
Yeah, I mean this was a guy that played what like 10 minutes a game last year at
10
Nebraska.
minutes a game in Nebraska, but he's been known for his shooting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure he's always
He was
been.
a freshman, right?
Yeah. He was known for his shooting in high school, correct?
Believe so. Yeah, I mean he was a
Yeah.
37% 3-point shooter on pretty low volume last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really
He
remember
didn't play
watching
much,
him.
so
I don't really remember watching him in high school.
I did not. Like I haven't been as full blown on watching recruits like since this starting year.
All right. Purdue.
Do we know how they're getting down to 13 scholarship yet? I would assume it's one of the freshmen, right?
Probably.
And I'll tell you,
But yeah, I mean, you have maybe the best point guard in America. You have one of the better two guards in America. You have a really high upside combination of wings that were freshmen last year.
Mhm.
You have a five that is really that's really going to step into a big role and be really good.
Could be their best player.
And people really like Cannon Catchings.
Yeah, I'm a fan from the limited amount I've seen so far. Kind of just longer slasher kind of wing.
It's like a type of guy that they really like haven't had.
Yeah, I would say so. I think Colvin could have a big year too.
Yeah, like I think Colvin and Catchings are like the types of athletes that can just like step in and get to the basket that like they haven't really had.
And then I also I don't know how much he'll play, but like I do like Jakari Harris as like a backup point guard option. Like he's kind of like your like no gel Eastern, but like a little more offensively advanced type of player.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously, yeah, I mean no Joe Eastern, that's a name that I have not heard in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Like
A very, very long time.
Like when I watch Harris, the first thing I like think is college ready body.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there from the very, very little I've seen. But yeah, I think Colvin could have a big impact, and Colvin can really shoot the ball too.
Your
Colvin,
baseball team's killing me.
Okay, you think they're not killing me?
I really needed that Helsley save, dude.
Look, I really needed a win.
Um,
They come back and tie the game in the 8th, and they do this in the bottom.
yeah, like they have so many options. Like we haven't even mentioned Will Berg yet, who like is like supposed to be their next.
Look. I'm gonna put this to rest right now. Will Berg played 52 minutes this season.
Total.
Just in case anyone was wondering. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to say he'll be.
It took Zach Edey 3 games to get there his freshman year.
I'm not saying he'll be great. I'm not even saying he'll start. I will tell you that he's 7'2" and has been in Purdue's program for a couple seasons now. He will contribute.
I don't see him playing more than 10 minutes a game.
Do you want to bet on that?
I don't think so. I've seen crazier things happen. I'll bet that he won't play more than 15.
If he doesn't play 10 minutes a game plus off the bench, Jacobson's going to. Purdue hasn't played a 7'2" or taller kid a decent amount of minutes in some capacity since you were probably sleeping in a crib.
But my whole point is I think TKR can give you 30 minutes at the 5. I think TKR is going to be an all Big Ten player.
I do too, but I think some of his minutes will come at the 4.
I don't think they need to.
Either that or
he's
either that or he's not playing 30 minutes.
Best 5s in this conference, 3, maybe even better than that.
What'd you say?
And I think you can. I think I don't think you give him many minutes, but I think First can play a little bit of the 5. Between First, Berg, and
Caleb First should not be on this team anymore.
No, but between First, Berg, and Jacobson, that's probably what 12, 13 minutes at the 5 total.
Do you think
I think TKR gives you a little bit more than 25.
Do you think that TKR is the best 5 in the conference?
I'm trying to think who's better.
Golden?
Yeah, Golden's better.
Garcia's not a 5. No.
Golden's better. Reese is better.
But do you think Reese is a 5?
Whoever they put at the 5 is better, regardless.
Okay. That's probably fair.
Freeman's probably a little better.
Yeah, you're right.
And Balo is better.
That's close for me.
I don't think Balo's great, but Balo's better. Just on virtue of he's been doing this at a very high level for a long time. It's just I can't take a guy who averaged a double-double in the Pac-12 and was a borderline All-American 2 years ago and say, no, he's worse than TKR,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure he will be. I don't think he's a fit in Indiana. We discussed this last time. I think that Malik Renew should be playing the 5 for them. He's a little Renew's obviously a little small for the 5, but TKR is not gigantic.
This team has 6 freshmen coming in.
They'll have 5.
Well, one of them will redshirt. Or wait, one of them not redshirt.
One of them will go. 2 of them, probably 2 or 3 of them will redshirt.
Yeah,
because I think you've basically 35 point guard minutes, 35 shooting guard minutes are taken up by the starting rotation, and Catchings will get minutes with Colvin and Heidi on the wing, and TKR will get minutes with First, Berg, and Jacobson at the 5.
I think Harris may get a couple minutes just because he's another guy that can handle the ball.
Yeah, no, he'll play the 5 minutes that Lawyer does, that Smith doesn't.
Yeah.
And they'll probably slide Colvin down to the 2 when Lawyer comes out of the game or something like that. It's a very big 2. Wisconsin?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted to talk about this catastrophe going on in Madison.
I don't. Can we skip them?
I don't think there are worse teams in this league than them.
Yeah, but I don't think there's one that's more uninspiring relative to what you would expect from that program.
So the positive thing I will say is that Freitag's the dark horse freshman of the year in this league.
I'm not even going to talk. I'm just going to scroll on my phone. You talk
Okay,
about
fine.
Wisconsin.
I'll give you my positive thoughts here. Freitag's the dark horse freshman of the year in the league. Blackwell, possible sophomore leap. He had a good freshman year. Their transfers they brought in are just really interesting. Like Tanja is good if he's healthy. He wasn't healthy all year at Mizzou, like at all. Sam, have you watched? I know Xavier Amos is a Illinois
No, I
kid.
haven't really watched
Like
much.
he played on a bad team, and same with Cam Hunter. Like Kamari McGee is still on the team, which shouldn't excite anybody. Like Crowell really has been the same player for the last 3 years, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know.
There's just not like much upside at all with this team, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Can we move on and talk about
I would love to talk about the Big 12 if that's where you're
Big
headed
12?
next.
Baylor?
Good basketball team. I'm really interested to see how Drew plays them.
You want to start?
Yeah. First of all, like, haven't watched Asamoah yet, but like, probably a top 5 to 7 freshman class in the country. Like, they don't need Wright to play. Like, or they don't need him to
But
start.
he can. Like, I think Rob
Like,
Wright can really play.
If they needed him to start at the point guard, like, I wouldn't think much lower of them. Like, Wright's a really good player, and then Edgecombe.
I mean, I would come March.
Yes, but like in the regular season, I'd be fine with it. And Edgecombe is one of my favorite freshmen.
I'm a little lower on Edgecombe. I just don't think he's a ball handler really at all. I think he's a one cut and go running back, if you know what I mean.
Sure, but like,
I mean, no, it's a really good one cut. It's a Chris Johnson level one cut, CJ2K. But like, you can't like you can be a one trick pony as a running back. You can't really be a one trick pony as like a on ball creative wing. And I don't think they need him to be an on ball creative wing because Jeremy Roach is creative and Jaden Nunn is creative and Langston Love is creative.
I like the fact that Jaden Nunn's back for them.
Oh, I thought he was really underrated last year
because like he's a guy you need in the no middle defense.
I thought he had a really people don't really give him enough credit for stepping up offensively. Just his numbers went up across the board offensively going into the toughest league in the country. Now he also went to a much faster offense. But I mean, his percentages got better as well. I think we kind of assumed that like, oh, this is a defense first guy. He comes from VCU. He's going to guard for them. But no, he comes in and he's a really efficient 10-point a game scorer that provides some additional playmaking help and like shoots 44% from three. He had 53s last year.
What do you think about how they're handling the front court?
I would advise, like, I think you can get away with Ojanwa minutes at the 5. I don't think you can get away with starting him, like, and playing him 30 minutes at the 5. That's fine, because Omier can play the 5. But then again, I don't really think you can, like, then again, you're kind of screwed at the 4. They just need one more body in the front court.
So, when Baylor was at their peak 3 years ago, I guess it was 4 years
but
ago.
Like, are you going to make the Omier Vital point?
You mean the Vital Flo Thamba point?
Yeah.
Like, my point is, like, in the front court, like, at Baylor's best, they were playing two guys that were, like, pretty much non-shooters / non...
But they also had three.
But, like, yeah, no. The point, my point was going to be that they had the best guards in the country, which they don't.
Like, those three guards, like, all played in the NBA the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Did Macio Teague play in the NBA?
I don't know if he did, but like he was like a G League guy. Get out. That's gone. Let's go.
I think Macio Teague probably at least got a cup of coffee.
I don't know if he was on a roster, but like
He was with the Jazz. He didn't play though.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, he was a G League guy. Guess where he's playing now?
Is it overseas somewhere?
It's Poland.
Ugh. I had like a 1 in a lot of countries shot.
Yeah. But my point being, like, Macio Teague is better than every single one of their guards, and he was their third best guard.
Yes. That's like not even a question.
I mean, Roach is really good. But
I don't want to. So if because Bridges is gone. If you are starting Omier at the 5,
if they still had Bridges, I would say this is a top 5 team.
If you are starting Omier at the 5, is Celestine your starter at the 4?
Presumably. Which I don't really like.
No.
But I think you're starting Ojano at the 5.
Jeez, I don't. I'll be interested to see how they work that out.
Arizona.
Oh, goody! We get to do all these other teams now. The new Big 12.
Do we really, as a society, think Krivas is going to start over Owaka?
Yeah.
I might, like, Krivas, like, showed a little last year, but, like, I think Owaka is...
I love Toby Owaka. He's 6'8".
But he's super, super strong. Like, I think he's stronger than Krivas.
Is that, like... Are you saying that Krivas isn't strong? Because I think he is.
No, I'm just saying Owaka might be the strongest player in the country relative to size.
Sure, but, like, I don't want him guarding Hunter Dickinson for 25 minutes.
But you don't have to play him 25 minutes against Kansas.
He's not going to play 25 minutes a game, period.
I just think that, like, in most games, he's the better option. But, like, if you're going up against Dickinson, yeah, Krivas is the better option.
I think with Arizona, you had a handful of, like, international players that were bigs last year and just, like, a very deep front court group overall. And outside of Bala, Krivas as a freshman was playing over every one of them and was, like, good.
All right, but KJ Lewis announces he's back.
Oh, that's officially?
Big. Yes,
Good.
He announced that the other day.
I think Love's coming back.
Yeah, no, I think he probably is too. I mean, DeLorso's a point guard.
You're not starting him, though.
Like, I don't think, like, even if Love doesn't come back, like, Bradley can play the 2.
You don't think Bradley's their starting point guard?
I mean, I think if Love doesn't come back, you're probably better with DeLorso at the 1 and Bradley at the 2 than you are with Conrad Martinez with Jamari Phillips at the 2.
I mean, I just would start Bradley at the 1. Like,
you'd start Carter Bryant?
Yeah. No,
okay,
I'd start Bradley, Love, Lewis, Townsend, and Krivas.
No, if Love doesn't come back.
Oh, if Love doesn't come back,
then who are you starting at the 2? Are you sliding Lewis down and playing Bryant at the 4?
I probably just play Bryant and go big.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, like, I think DeLorso is a point. Like, he is not he's not a wing, like, under any circumstances. Yeah. Wait, no.
I mean,
Is he not a point? Like, am I confusing him with someone? Because he only averaged
I
2
think
assists.
so. I mean, he plays on ball a lot, but I wouldn't call him a point guard. I'd call him a wing.
I might be confusing him with someone. I didn't really get to watch Campbell a lot, but I do remember him being a point guard.
Like,
I
I
might be
don't
thinking of someone else.
he's a good passer. I just don't think he's a point guard.
He only averaged 2 assists a game, which is why I feel like I'm now mistaking him for someone.
Like, he was one of the top usage guys in the country, like top 100. He's also like super efficient. Like, it's a very good take. Like, I mean, he was good for the 311th best team in the country.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought Delors. I might be wrong here. I think I'm confusing him with someone.
It's okay. We forgive you.
I'm just trying to figure out who I'm confusing him with. I gotta figure out who I'm confusing him with first. You keep talking.
Okay. Regardless, like, teams deep, like, I think like the best case scenario is like they legit have 10 or 11 playable guys. Like, I think Sannon's really good if he ends up staying. And
I don't.
you don't think Sannon's good?
I think he's good. I don't think he's really good.
I think Sannon's really good.
He's just like just like a good scorer.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. He's
Who
really
the
good at
hell am I
that.
confusing Delorso with?
I can't speak a lot about Phillips and Emmanuel Stephan. I haven't watched them yet, and like I can't speak about Conrad
I know
Martinez.
somewhere there was like a 6'6" point guard that, like, oh my god, I think I think I confused him with Armstrong, the Cal Baptist kid who was
Oh,
in
okay.
Australia last year. Because that's a 6'6" point guard from Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and he was also linked very heavily to Arizona.
You're right. He was.
Wait,
It was
he's
like
not
them and
6'6",
it was like them and
Armstrong?
Gonzaga, right?
Creighton might have been in there, but I think that's that's on me. Delorso, definitely a ball handler though. I know that.
Mm-hmm. No,
You
you're right
talk more
about
about
that.
Arizona State because actually I'll kind of take it a little bit.
Okay.
You'll talk a little bit more about Austin Mason than I can, but like between him, Miller, Freeman, and Jihad, that's 4 guys that can really score.
Mm-hmm.
But they all need the ball in their hands. And then your center is a 6'9", 17-year-old. I get that Quaintance is like an athletic freak. He can really rebound and all that stuff. But like, I'm not in on Quaintance in year 1. You're paying him for year 2. And who knows if he'll even be around in year 2. I like Freeman. I think Mason's solid. Jihad is okay. Miller hasn't really improved since his freshman year. So, what do you think?
Yeah, Miller's had some injury problems. I think he like tore his ACL twice. But I'm glad he's out there and getting a chance. Austin Mason is like a pretty high usage player that can shoot a decent bit. He'll shoot it a lot. It won't always go in. But his best attribute is that he's really fast and can get to the rim. I wonder how like he'll translate playing in the Big 12 because finishing against Missouri Valley bigs is not the same thing as finishing against Big 12 bigs. That's my question with him. But like, and like, I don't think he's I think he's a pretty good passer too, which is like probably what you want him to be here.
Yeah,
I do have some questions about how he'll translate. Like the other guys that were kind of at his level of talent in the league that transferred up, I don't have the same questions, but like his skill set going from the Valley to the Big 12 will be interesting.
BYU.
I've actually thought a lot about this team recently.
Why?
So it's because I see a lot of like recognizable names from last year's team, like Hall, Saunders.
And I think Dallin Hall is a star.
I think he's really good. Nell was there last year. Traore, obviously. Baker was hurt, but he was on the team last year.
And he was a big scorer at Irvine.
Like
I thought Dawson Baker was going to be one of their best players. I honestly thought he was probably going to be their best.
So, like, I think this team will be a pretty big mystery because you brought in a guy that has like very like no head coaching experience and like very little experience at the college level to be your head coach, and then you return a decent amount. So, like, this could go really well, but like at the same time, the point I keep going back to is you and I talked so much about Khalifa and how important he was for them, which could be irrelevant if their system's different and still working. But like, I also talked so much about how I thought Jackson Robinson was their best player, and he's gone too.
Is Brody Kozlowski going to take a mission?
He's from Utah, right?
He's from Utah, yeah.
I don't know. Let me hold on. I'm gonna.
It does not mention in the release that he's going to.
Okay, we didn't find out that Colin Chandler was going on his mission trip. Wait, hold on. Oh, this is from April 12th. Okay. April 12th, 2022 is when we found out Chandler was on his mission trip. I don't know. I feel like maybe not.
But
I've
like,
not watched
is
these
that
other
your
press-
starting four right now? Like this is
Kozlowski?
yeah. Unless like you're playing 4-6-5 guys and putting Dawson Baker at the 3 and Saunders at the 4, and then like Traore is 6'6", like.
I think. I bet Keita starts for them.
Yeah, Traore's never been a big minute guy.
Mm-hmm. Plus, like, you don't really know if like Kevin Young's going to play this team the same way that Pope did.
That's fair. I mean, I think he's at least got to try. Because, like, he would be stupid to not look at, like, what Pope did and say, wow, he really got a lot out of this roster.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they also had Ali Khalifa and Jackson Robinson, who might have been the 2 most important players on that team.
Yeah. And, like, they lost Noah Waterman, too.
Yeah, Waterman would have been there 4. That's what it was. But, like, this is a lot. You do have a lot returning. And I think Dallin Hall is going to be really good. Trevin Nell can shoot the crap out of it. Traore is a beast. But, like, Traore played 18 minutes a game last year. I don't know if he plays much more than that.
I think Keita's gonna play a lot.
I agree. Do you think Keita's good?
I haven't watched much of him, but like everything I've read, like raves about the guy, and it's like, oh, what a great pickup. Like looking at some numbers from last year, I mean, he was a sophomore, so like still growing, but
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really have much recollection of him. Like, he only played 16 minutes a game.
Yeah,
I mean, that part of that is Carlson. Like, you can't
true.
really take Carlson
And
off
like,
the
I mean,
floor.
they also had a 7-1 loss in Lovering.
God, Lawson.
You had other guys.
We'll get
Both
into Lawson Lovering in a little bit.
huh?
We'll get into Lawson Lovering in a little bit.
God.
Cincinnati.
Oh boy, where do we start on this one?
I think like we were watching the Indiana State game and like we both came to the same conclusion that like this team's gonna be really good this year.
Yeah, I mean, they just have a ton of guys that are going to get better, and you add like polished guys like Lukosius, Hickman, like Bondogo, even.
Like Dan Skillings was 13 a game, 13-6 as a sophomore, first year in the league on 42% of the field. Like this guy is gonna be an all league player. Lukosius can catch fire.
Yeah, and then like
Jizzle James was a
your
really
critique
solid
is like
freshman point guard.
your critique is like you and I don't like Dylan Mitchell as much as some others do.
Like, who cares? They have Tyler Betsy and Connor Hickman and CJ Frederick.
I think the one criticism about them that you could make was like, maybe they don't have enough athleticism. Well, then they go get Mitchell,
Yeah.
who's like one of the most athletic guys in the country.
And like Bandego is an athlete. Like Bandego is maybe the most athletic. I think Bandego is still the most athletic guy on this team. I think
he is a freak.
I thought he was freaky at Utah Valley. He's still freaky. Like he only averaged like 7 points last year. I think he can average double digits.
I just don't know how many touches he'll get because like there is a lot of mouths to feed on this team.
Connor Hickman is really good.
Dude, Rothstein, unreal. Dude, Rothstein yesterday tweeted that they have 6 starters. Like, Connor Hickman was like 15 points a game on like a top 65 Kent Bomb team.
On really efficient too.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Dallas made a comeback. It's a 2-point game.
Good. Gambling purposes, obviously.
I can't be letting Kyrie win. But I like Cincinnati a lot. I think this is a top 20, top 15-ish team.
I'll probably be higher on them than anyone else.
We said BYU was a question mark. This next team is just a million question marks. Colorado.
Okay. I didn't know we were pivoting there. You could have gone to a couple different teams.
What on earth is going on there?
Is KJ Simpson like gone?
Yeah, I think so.
So you're left with
Julian Hammond,
a bunch of sophomores that didn't play last year, a couple freshmen, and then like role players.
Elijah Malone was like the player of the year in NAIA.
Okay.
But like if you're 6'10", you already look like Shaq in NAIA. Like there's not many 6'10" like super strong guys.
What do you know about Trevor Baskin?
Oh, he's really good. Okay. But like he's really good at the D2 level. He's like a high major contributor. I don't know if he's a high major starter. Like Elijah Malone was 17-8 with 2.5 blocks a game at Grace College. He's 6'10". I don't know how big. I don't know how much he weighs, but it was a lot. I think he's like a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think he's good. I'm just questioning taking like as your two, like Jakimovsky obviously is there, but like I'm just questioning taking Malone and Baskin. Like that's a big gamble. Like give 2 year starting lineup to guys who have never played Division I basketball. Baskin's good though. I think Baskin is really
This
athletic.
feels like they have a lot of role players and no like guys that will actually.
Baskin's really athletic. He can shoot it a little bit. He can pass. Like Baskin can pretty much do everything you need him to do. But like again, I kind of mentioned it with like the Durkak leap. Like that's a big leap.
He's at like he was from like an in-state like D2, right, or in-state JUCO.
Colorado Mesa. It was Mike DeGeorge, the new Cal Poly coach.
Okay.
I mean, that was a really darn good team. Like they did really well. But like I just like the ceiling is honestly pretty high here. Like if Malone and Baskin are like really good, which they can be. Like Jakimovsky hits shots, Hammond we know is good. Like that could be a tournament team.
I'll really have to look into this team more before I decide where.
I don't think it's going to be a tournament team though. That's the one thing I would say.
I'll have to look into them more before I really decide where I'm going to rank them. Like I've ranked 54 teams so far and have not even thought about Colorado.
Houston.
Now, this is a team I definitely have ranked.
This is my number one team in the country.
This will probably be my number one team in the country once Caravan like officially is.
I mean,
gone.
I just see a team that was number one most of the year in KenPom, returns 4 starters and a key bench player from injury who didn't play most of the year, and then another key guy who was a freshman last year that is a star that didn't play towards the end of the season, at least a star in my mind going forward.
People do forget that like Arsenault was the best NBA prospect on this team before he got hurt.
Arsenault is really good. People, I remember the debate, like, is Houston cooked now that Arsenault's hurt? Remember that?
Yeah.
He's
sure.
like the most impactful 6 and 5 guy in the country.
So, like this team had a depth problem at the end of the year because of how hurt they were.
Yeah, because Shed got hurt too.
Even if they're hurt this year, they won't have that problem.
Correct.
Both of those freshmen can play.
Yeah, Miller and McCarty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mercy Miller can play. McCarty can play.
What do you think second year JoJo Tugler's going to look like? Because he was like way better than like anyone thought he was going to be last year.
I wouldn't be surprised if like he's better than one of Roberts or Francis and like starts.
I mean, I already kind of thought he was better than Francis.
I mean, sure, but like I think both of those guys had 120 D ratings and good high block rates and like all 3 of those guys are all conference players at another school.
Yeah. It's a shame that Ryan Alvin's not back.
I think LJ Cryer could be a player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him now in that defensive scheme, and he looks so much better defensively.
Dude, if you want to learn how to play defense, just go to Houston. That guy was like one of the biggest like net negatives in the league at Baylor defensively, and then goes to Houston and it's like complete opposite.
I didn't think he was a defensive superstar, but I thought he was really good. Francis and Roberts and Tugler. That's a 3-headed monster in the front court. Uzan, obviously the elephant in the room is Shed's gone. Uzan is that he's kind of tough. He can play make. he doesn't really shoot it that well. Like he shot it well in his freshman year, but like you need him to shoot it a little, like at least at like a 35% clip, I think, to be the number one team, and I think he can do that. Because like Sharp and Cryer are like tremendous shooters.
Correct.
Those, but like they might still be like a 2-shooter lineup if Uzan shoots the way he did last year, and that's kind of my concern.
The thing for me though is like, if Uzan's not a great shooter, like first of all, Shed shot like 30% from three, so like
Yeah, but he was also the best defender in the country.
yes, but like you're not losing any shooting with him leaving.
Correct.
Is Uzan gonna shoot 30%?
Maybe.
So if he is, you're losing Shed's defense, but like Tugler gets better. You bring in the 2 freshmen. Like,
But Shed was also
like you can't.
Shed was like the second best point guard. He was like the best point guard in the country. Like
He was the best point guard in the country.
he was maybe the best playmaker in the country.
You can't,
and maybe the best defender in the country.
You can't recreate Jamal Shed. But
like, okay, stop it.
I'm not going there. But like,
they're not even going to be replacing him in the aggregate.
No. But I think they're going to be a different team. Like, I think they're going to be more wing oriented.
Of course they are. So like, I honestly think like Shed like became the best point guard in the country more out of necessity. Like, I don't think he was playing like the best point guard in the country until Arsenault went down.
Like, I think this is just a deeper kind of deeper version of what they were more in 2023.
I just can't compare a team that had like they're not that was their best team
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh no, last year they were better.
I don't think so. I don't agree.
No, dude, last year they were better. Like they like stumbled down the stretch and in the American 2 years ago.
They went 31-3.
Dude, they were playing terrible at the end of the year. Like by Houston,
they were playing with their food a little bit, but like they had like that Memphis away win built character.
Dude, they just won 15 games in the Big 12.
I don't care. They had Sasser, Shed, and Walker.
I mean, they had Tremont Mark.
Yeah.
Dude, they maybe would have gotten. They came really close to being in the Elite Eight without Arsenault, without Shed, and without Ramon Walker, and without JoJo Tugler.
And I think that like if it weren't for like a super hot shooting performance by Nigel Pack where he made everything, they would have been in the Elite Eight and probably the Final Four.
Dude, they got smoked in that game.
Dude, Nigel Pack was 7 for 10 from 3, and it was like the craziest shots ever.
He was hitting them from really deep. That is true. But like, dude, they got rained out of the building. That game was never in doubt.
It was close at halftime.
Dude, they were down 6 at the half, and then Miami in the third part of the game outscored them by 11.
Because freaking like Pack made like 3 threes in a row.
Dude, with 10 minutes to go, that game was over.
I know. Anyway, regardless.
Jesus, they went freaking.
We've gone an hour and we've like talked about like 7 teams.
That's not true.
Okay, we've talked about
it's up to 11. Like 10.
Iowa State.
You want to take the lead on this one?
Oh man, Joshua Jefferson is such an awesome fit in this system.
Yeah, he'll be in my when we do that show over the summer, he'll be in my best fits.
He might be number 1. Like
dude, We thought they were good like before they got him.
But I look at Jefferson. He was the most important player that St. Mary's had.
Mm-hmm.
He was the differentiating athleticism on the defensive end that was helping them scale up, I think, in a tournament setting. And when he was gone, I knew that they were not making a run. They could beat Pepperdine 103-59 all they want.
Relax.
What?
What?
What's your problem?
Nothing.
I still can't believe like the fourth best player on that team won Conference Player of the Year.
Take it up with Josh.
He might have even been like Dukas was really good too. He might have been the fifth best player.
Sam Fetterman, not an Augustus Marshallonis guy.
No, I like Marshallonis. It's just
okay.
Like I think he's a good player, but like all five of those guys were really close in like their level. That was the thing about St. Mary's. Like anyone can get you.
So here's my question with Iowa State that you can answer. How does this team go from the 52nd best offense in the country to the 20th best offense in the country?
I don't think they do.
So what are we doing ranking them top 5? Or I guess I should say, what are you doing ranking them top 5? Because I have them 8th.
They were a top 5-ish team last year.
I didn't quite think they were at that level, but
like
sure.
I think Lipsy can take another small step. Gilbert with a year under his belt in the big. If they do like contend for a national championship, I'll tell you this, it could be the Keshawn Gilbert as an All-American type. Like I can see that happening. You know, second year transfer.
Uh-huh.
All right, I have my answer for how.
I mean, I was on record saying Gilbert was their best player last year.
I mean, Lipsy was really good, but
he was. But I didn't really think Lipsy. I thought the things that Lipsy did really well, Gilbert also did really well, and then he was.
I thought Lipsy was better.
I thought he was a better offensive player.
I thought Lipsy was better defensively. But all right, Gilbert and Momcilovic still can take another step up, I think, and those are their two best offensive players.
I think Lipsy could take another step up too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying there's more room to grow with Gilbert and Momcilovic, I think, immediately than there is with Lipsy. Like Momcilovic finished the year shooting 36% from 3. He shot 28% from 3 in conference play.
I want to see.
He's a really good shooter. Like he'll shoot better than that.
I want to see how this offense changes next year because some of the stuff they were running last year was vile at times.
I feel like we didn't really give Taman Lipsy enough flowers for just becoming a stud shooter.
Hey, no coaching malpractice was committed.
Hey, TJ Otzelberger is a top 10 coach in the country for a reason.
Indeed. Where do I have him?
We'll get into that next month.
I know. I'm not going to read it. I just want to figure out where I put him.
I think Curtis Jones is really good too.
No, he is. We haven't mentioned him, but yeah, he is. Can score.
Kansas.
We're evaluating. Furphy's gone.
Absolutely.
The
next point was that Bill Self said at the last press conference after they lost to Gonzaga, oh, I'm already focused on next year. I've been focused on next year for the last month. No kidding.
Sure seems like he was.
No kidding. This roster is he saw what happened last year and was like, never again. Because they go too deep at every position. Okay, maybe not the 4.
So we obviously know what we're getting out of Harris, Dickinson, Adams.
And Store.
Their front court is like 2 all-conference guys. Like
And
Dickinson,
then Flory off the bench, who's a freak.
6'7", but a freak.
Flory and Adams would be like the best defensive back front court in the country.
You said backcourt, had me a little worried there. What are you going to pair them with, Madi Sissoko? But yeah, like really talented front court, really deep guard group. Who would you start for this team? Obviously, Harris, Adams, Dickinson start. Do you go smaller with Mayo playing the 2? Or, because Store's going to start, I would assume. Or do you go bigger with Griffin playing the 2? I personally am a huge Rylan Griffin fan. Because he's just a tremendous shooter. Not to say that Zeke Mayo isn't, but Griffin just gives you more positional size. And Mayo is more of a 1. And Kansas obviously has a productive 1. I think this team, like, I think they're probably better off without Riley Kugel even, because they just like.
Were you asking me something?
What?
Were you asking me something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, what would you do? Because obviously Harris starts, Adams starts, Dickinson starts. Which of the
Griffin
2-3 other guys starts?
Griffin and Store.
That's who I would start too, and Mayo off the bench.
I like Mayo a lot, but
Mayo just gives you some more like on ball. Mayo gives you scoring off the bench, which they didn't have like at all last year.
Like they like Zeke Mayo as Remy Martin.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Like,
I like that a lot.
I think Store in build, like, this is going to come off crazy. Store in that system does feel Christian Brownie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean?
If I was a coach that had Kansas in my region in the NCAA tournament and had, like, regardless of them being like in the region or in like my side of the half of the bracket, I would just like call up AJ Store the week the tournament starts, offer him $1 billion. Because like that is what happened, right? At the end of the year.
Presumably.
Like the rumor going around was like he was getting NIL offers from like big time NIL offers and was like checked out at the end of the year. Which I mean he did start playing worse.
Seems like something absurd is going on in the OKC Dallas game right now.
Yeah, dude, PJ Washington's like shooting 3 free throws. I may have to turn off Mizzou softball for a moment.
Is Shea just gonna come back and hit a full court buzzer beater like he did that one time?
Dude, I hope not. I bet on Dallas. I really cannot afford to lose this.
Just go DoorDash it away.
Oh, dude, I've been doing a lot of DoorDash lately.
Tell the people about the 3:00 Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, dude, there was another Buffalo. Dude, how about the one today? Cheesecake from Buffalo Wild Wings at like 3:30.
What are we doing here, folks?
Like
Columbia, Missouri. The Columbia, Missouri residents really need to step up their game.
Have you ever seen someone order wings and cheesecake in the same meal?
No, I don't think anyone's ever done that at the Cheesecake Factory. I didn't even know Buffalo Wild Wings had cheesecake.
Dude, I would not eat cheesecake from Buffalo Wild Wings.
No.
Wait, why did he intentionally miss that?
Don't jinx.
Okay, that wasn't even close, but like, why did he miss that?
Not jinx. Don't say anything. come behind you.
I don't know, Jim.
Oh, he intentionally missed that. Wow.
Back to Mizzou softball we go. Any other thoughts on Kansas? Like, I haven't watched Marquise Passmore yet.
I like him.
You've watched him?
No. I just think it's a cool name.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Dude, I go away for freaking 1 second and Washington scores? Not good. Not good, Jim.
Shall we talk about the collection of players that Jerome Tang has built? We just talked about 3 of the 5 best teams in the country, and now we're talking about a team that's starting David and Gasson at the 4.
To be fair, they got to an Elite 8 doing that.
Did they?
He started for that team, right?
Did he?
It was Noel. No, wait, no, he didn't. Because Masood started.
Yeah.
I think. Georgetown legend, Ish Masood.
No, Masood didn't start.
Did
Gasson did start? I'm wrong.
Oh, dude, I'm a sharp.
No, he started a little. But by the end of the season, it was Carter and Sills.
Right.
Hazen will shoot. Doug will play. Accor is good. I don't get it though.
They have a really bad bench.
Like they need a score. Like, they need Arthur Kaluma is what they need.
I don't know. Like I think Accor like
Accor is more of a 5 though than a 3.
Even at this level?
I mean, he's not a 3. He could be a 4. What do you think of Max Jones?
They got him from a West Coast school, right?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I've never seen this kid play.
Never seen him play.
Fullerton wasn't good, right?
Just looked up his stats and saw 15 a game, and I'm honestly I didn't even know that.
38% from 3 too.
Okay, this could actually be better than we thought.
This could work. So hold on. McDaniel.
We'll revisit Kansas State when we've watched Max Jones. How about
McDaniel,
that?
Hausen,
Jones, Gasson, and Accor. Unless you want to play Fall at the 5 and Accor at the 4.
So wait, who are you not starting Max Jones then?
No, you are. Jones at the 3.
Oh, I thought okay. I thought you were talking about CJ Jones.
No, of course not.
Of course not. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, Oklahoma State.
Can we skip this one? Can we bring the boycott
I just want
back?
to say, like, Khalil Brantley, didn't play the one at LaSalle.
Can we bring the boycott back?
Like, Khalil Brantley was, a 2-guard all 3 years at LaSalle for, all of his minutes. Because he played basically all of his minutes with Jig Brickus, who was a 1.
So what, you're trusting him to make that transition?
What?
You think they're trusting him to make that transition?
I mean, it's him and Arturo Dean, which is, a fun, 2 guys to play that position. I like Devo Davis. I like Abu Usman. I don't like anybody else on this roster.
Where was Dean? He was at FIU, right?
FIU. I don't think he's I don't think he's a Big 12 guard though. What do you think of Jamiron Keller? Because obviously I didn't watch Oklahoma State basketball last year.
You think I did?
I mean, I wasn't allowed to.
To be fair, I don't think you not allowing yourself to is what was preventing it.
All right. Did you watch Jamiron Keller at all?
No, I did not watch
Right?
this team. They sucked.
TCU.
Hold on. I'm looking this up for you.
I
Jamari
like this TCU roster a lot. If they have,
I like
if
them better now that they got Chazarian White.
Trezarian White's an All Big 12 player.
Mhm. And you think Noah Reynolds is too?
I think he can be. Trezarian White was probably going to be Player of the Year in the CAA.
You think Frankie Collins off ball works better? Because I do.
Combo guard Frankie Collins, yeah.
Well, yeah, he'll get some minutes at the one, but I think him in
Because
a
I'm trying to think in his best games at Michigan that one year, like that tournament game, like how were they using him? You know,
I just
and like
think
it was in like a combo guard role with Brooks.
well, you just don't want him to have the ball as much as he did last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you know what his offensive rating was?
93.
Yeah, that's atrocious.
I mean, his offensive rating's never been higher than 97.6.
He can defend like really well.
I mean, he's a pest. I don't know if he's like I don't know if he's like a terrific ISO defender. Like he steals the ball a lot.
No, he does steal it like a lot.
No, yeah, but like that's my thing. Like I think he's really good at like the middle of a press at like just taking the ball and intercepting it. I think he can turn a game quickly doing that. I mean, he had like 8 steals against UMass Lowell, and like 4 of them were on the press late in the game. But like I don't think you're pressing with Reynolds, White, and Wenzel.
Probably not.
I would have. They need Uday to be pretty good. I think they have a 4-man.
They need
like a
Uday to be
5-man.
able to play a decent amount.
I think they have like 5 or 6 freshmen that'll play. Maybe not that'll play, but like that like are on the roster. And they will kind of need a couple of them to play.
The front court guys, especially.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much get away with Collins, Reynolds, RJ Jones giving you.
But like you'll need to find some more minutes at the 4. You'll need to find some more.
I think you'll need to find a couple more minutes in the backcourt and a lot more minutes in the front court.
I haven't watched 3 of these guys. I have watched Micah Robinson a little bit. I don't remember a ton of like his game, but I do remember I liked him a decent amount. But I haven't watched the other 3. Good. Ready to move on?
I like Texas Tech.
Did you intentionally skip Oklahoma?
They're not in this conference.
Holy cow, you're right. I'm an idiot.
I like Texas Tech a lot.
Parrish still has the same conferences on the sheet. Yeah, I think they need some more front court depth, but
yeah, but so does everybody. Let's be honest here.
Their backcourt wings are really
the next
good.
team we're going to talk about after them really has that issue as well.
Who spent 20 minutes talking about UCF? Good roster construction here by McCaslin. Pure playmaking point guard and Hawkins surrounded by a bunch of like scoring and shooting wings.
And a center that's a pogo
and then
stick.
Federica.
A pogo stick. Top 25-ish team. Maybe
They'll be higher for me.
UCF.
Oh, goody.
I mean, this might be the worst power conference team to return 2 15-point scorers, bring in 2 former 5-star freshmen, bring in 2 former 5-star recruits and a 17-point scorer in the history of the sport.
If you told me just that info without telling me the team back in like February, before like we knew what this was going to be.
Oh, and not to mention they brought in an all-conference guy from the A10.
So wait, hold on a sec. If you had told me that info in February, I probably would have said that's like a top 10 team. If you had just told me that info without like telling me anything else.
Returning 2 15-point scorers, bringing in a 17-point scorer transfer from the American, a 17-point scorer transfer from the A10, and 2 former 5-star recruits, and a former 4-star recruit, along with a center who had a really solid freshman season at a mid-major. That sounds like a top 10 team.
Yeah.
That is maybe not even a top 75 team.
Do you think they'll be in your top 100?
Yes. I mean, I thought that they had an abysmal roster last year, and they finished 66th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to talk about them anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit the 20-minute mark that I requested. Excuse you, Mr. Fetterman. This is an interesting one next. West Virginia.
No.
Oh, wait, we have a freaking Utah.
I don't think I want to talk about Utah.
Dude, what is this team?
I like Miro Little. The Madsen brothers are fine.
I don't know if they're brothers.
They're not?
I don't know.
I frankly assumed that when Mason Madsen went to Utah that it's because he was related to Gabe.
They are brothers. I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
And you know what's funny about that? I think they both played for the same AAU program that my brother did.
Whoops. But Lawson Lovering is not good.
Dude, this team's a disaster.
And Keanu Dawes is their starting 4.
Yeah.
6-4 for Rice.
You said that like you hated the food.
He played for Scott Para. I'm done talking about you. I like Miro Little.
Talk about Washington.
I think Miro Little is going to be their best player. I think he could average like 14 a game.
The Finnish guard.
West Virginia, the last one. So I was texting with Bach a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Just like asking what's going on with West Virginia. Like, what on earth do you think is going on here? And he's like, oh, yeah, West Virginia fans think this team is going to revolutionize basketball. In what way?
It'll revolutionize basketball in the fact that we get to see 2 Valley guys play on the same team that were on different teams in the Big 12. That's got to be a
3
first.
Valley guys.
If you count Joe.
Of course I do.
But that's from 2 different teams, not 3. Sad. It's just like I actually think this team has some.
It's like I don't think this team has an offense or defense slant. Like that's the thing that I look at and say, yeah, all right, that looks like a DeVries team.
I just like keep convincing myself that like they'll find a way to win 9 conference games.
Like if this team had Drake across their jersey, they would be the favorites in the Missouri Valley.
Oh, pretty easily.
But
in this Missouri Valley?
No, in last year's Missouri Valley, in a good valley.
Oh yeah, they would have been.
But like that's simply because they would just have like overwhelming athleticism for that league. I don't think they'd have a higher KenPom number than anyone else in the league.
No, but like DeVries, we know is like a first team all league guy potentially.
DeVries could be all American. Yeah.
Small is a good point guard. That was on a
O'Connor's
really.
a freak. Hansberry's athletic.
Mhm. I wonder how much better Sincere Harris has gotten since his freshman year at Illinois, because he redshirted. He didn't play this year at all.
Yeah, I remember when it came out that he was redshirting.
You know what? I can't remember if I said when I said this or if I said this, but I definitely said it somewhat at some point. We knew Illinois was good when Sincere Harris was going to redshirt.
Let's move on.
It's like, okay, we know what they have.
Let's talk SEC.
Oh, baby. You're speaking my language, my conference. Okay, fine, not my conference, but the conference I attend school.
Alabama.
So,
how about we say this? Let's revisit when we know if Mark Sears is coming back.
Sure. If Mark Sears is coming back, I keep trying to find ways to convince myself that this team won't be a top 10 team for some reason because Grant Nelson's on it. But this team's really good.
And KJ are on it.
This team's really good. And I do think bringing back Jaron Stevenson's important too. I thought he showed some real upside this year as a freshman.
Arkansas. This team has 7 players on it, and Zvonimir Ivisic is number 7.
This team has 7 players on it. 5 of them can play.
Sorry, 4. I like 4 of them.
You're not a Billy Richmond guy.
I'm not a big Billy Richmond guy. I don't like Carter Knox, and I don't like Big C.
Well, what was the line you texted me? Okay, I'm done with Carter Knox jump shots. Something like that. I'm trying to find this.
I've had about enough of Carter Knox jump shots. When Big Z signed, I said, does he plan on playing Big Z or just using him for decoration?
Okay. I'll put it this way. I like the 7 Arkansas has.
I think Big Z's just genuinely a talented player. Same with Knox and Richmond. But
you need more than 7. And who's left that you're taking?
Yeah, I mean, their point guard is still Boogie Flannel. They don't really have anyone else that can be a point guard.
Are we just gonna get an announcement in 3 weeks like we did last year that they're taking a player equivalent to Jordan Burks and Joey Hart? Get down. Yes.
But those aren't the 7th and 8th guys on Kentucky's roster.
No, they're not.
Robin Reed came off the bench.
Who is left that they're taking? Who is left that they're even interested in?
Oh my God, I've seen names.
Are they good names?
I'm trying to think of who they are.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention that this team is going to have 13 new players, and only 2 of them will have played together at all.
What's going on with DJ Wagner?
No clue.
Have
all the other Kentucky kids committed elsewhere?
What?
Have the other Kentucky transfers committed elsewhere? Is it just Wagner that's left?
Burks committed. Tiero committed.
Bradshaw committed.
Ivisic committed.
Joey Hart's at a MAC school now. Not your MAC, the Midwest MAC.
Robin Reed are in the draft. Reeves is in the draft. Mitchell
Edwards is in the draft.
Who's in the draft?
It's just TJ.
Hold on. Am I forgetting players from last year's Kentucky team?
Onyenso?
Oh yeah, Edwards. I forgot Edwards.
I said Edwards.
Onyenso.
And then like Trey Mitchell doesn't have eligibility left.
Yeah, Onyenso has not committed yet.
Okay.
I like Auburn.
Yeah, that's a good basketball team once again.
It's complete. It's got maybe the best player in the country. It's got a high-level point guard, Chad Baker-Mazara, who I think is going to take a real, maybe not a real step forward, but I think he was the most underrated player on that team.
Just
he was a really efficient 10-4 last year.
Just keep Todd Pettiford on the sidelines for the time being, and we'll be cool.
Yeah, I think they could use another guard. Because last year their backcourt was so stacked with guys that they kind. If you were to go right now and like try and divvy up the minutes, you're needing Pegues to go like 37 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Either that or like Todd Pettiford's playing a lot.
I don't know how many backup guards there are available. I'm gonna look it up. See, I'm gonna look up some names. See who I would suggest.
Holy cow! What a play!
On Bugs.
Yeah.
That would be a really good like off guard to bring in. Shaquille Moore. That would be a nice piece.
It's just there's not many.
Melvin Council would be a nice piece off the bench. But you need a backup point guard.
Yeah. Are they interested in Jackson
Ahmad Robinson would be a really good backup point guard.
What'd you say?
Ahmad Robinson would be a really good backup point guard for that.
I was about to ask if they're interested in Jackson Robinson.
I don't think they need another wing.
Dude, I think everyone could use a Jackson Robinson.
I agree, but I think they should invest their 2 scholarships in the backcourt.
Saying everyone could use a Jackson Robinson just doesn't hit the same as Caleb Grill.
No, not even close. Not even close. Florida's a ball club.
This is a very similarly constructed team, even if Mike is not ready.
Yeah, because you have Condon and Chinyelu. Ruben Chinyelu might be one of the more underrated just pickups in the class.
Both those guys should get better. Alexis is your Tyrese Samuel replacement. I don't think Martin will be as good as
Chinyelu played. Chinyelu, you want to hear his per 40s?
Sure.
His per 40-minute stats: 13.7 points, 14.4 rebounds, 3.7 blocks per 40 minutes. 62% from the field. Like obviously he's not going to average that. Like he played 13 minutes a game last year and he averaged 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And if Walt comes back, this is really good. If Walt doesn't come back, they're not good.
Correct.
Because their backup point guard is Cages Kublikis.
I know he didn't play a ton last year, but I do think Denzel Aberdeen will be
my other
for a little bit of a lead.
Other concern. Walter has always been best when he's playing with another point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Martin's not exactly a point guard.
He's not.
No, he's not at all. And that's your other backcourt member.
Another team that could use a backup point guard.
They have 2 spots left. There's not a ton of backup point guards available. There's a lot of mid-major starting point guards available that are probably going to be mid-major starting point guards. But you could overpay one of them to be backup.
Yeah.
Georgia.
I like Georgia.
I think this front court is absurdly stacked.
It is.
And this backcourt is really stacked too. I mean, Blue Kane and Silas Demery were really good for them last year. Tyron Lawrence is a proven contributor at the SEC level. Dakota LeFew was 17 a game in the MAC, and Deshane Montgomery was the rookie of the year and a freak athlete. That's just the backcourt. And then Asa Newell can do a lot for you. RJ Godfrey was a key contributor for a really good Clemson team. Justin Abson was the cog that made App State's defense go, and we know how good Santos Cyril can be on the glass.
Yeah, Santos is one of my favorite recruits in this class relative
to
his rank. Like just a big body rim protector that'll get after it defensively. I think a lot of the questions around this team are around
Michael Emerson White
and how many minutes you want to play Demery at the point guard spot, and if you have anyone else that can play other minutes there.
I mean, I think LeFew can play a few minutes at the one.
Then that's fine. If Demery is good and can play 25, 30 minutes at the one, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, because I think you can split the rest of the minutes between Lawrence, Kane, LeFew, and Deshane. Like, I think all of those guys can play a little point guard.
I hope RJ Godfrey doesn't get like shoved down the rotation.
I think RJ Godfrey should start.
Really good. Huh?
I think he should start.
I hope so. I thought he was really good.
I don't want them to just throw Asa Newell in the starting lineup on day one just because he's a 5-star.
Godfrey's better than him.
Oh, boy.
That's nothing to do with
Do you see what I see?
I saw Teoscar Hernandez just got me some fantasy points. Hold on.
You know what it's time for?
It is time. Oh boy.
I can't even talk about them.
What was the comment the other day? Something about an orchestra?
Let me find it.
Well, you know what? I don't think we have to talk about them. You know why?
I saw somebody reply to me and say that Kentucky was going to be a symphony on the court. Their point guard is Kirk Kriisa.
The only way Kirk Kriisa is part of a symphony is if he joins an actual symphony.
Look. I'm going to reserve judgment on this team as a whole until we see if they get Chaz Lanier or Jackson Robinson or somebody.
Yeah.
But if they go into the season without adding like a legit scorer, I'm not ranking them highly. Like just straight up. Like,
what do you think of Ansley?
He's a bench shooter for them.
The only reason I ask is because one, you've obviously seen a lot more of him than me being
I've
in
seen
that
a lot of them. I watched
being that region. And then second of all, I found it a little weird that like, oh, he was going to go to Siena, and then like Kentucky was interested. All of a sudden.
No, I think he can play at Kentucky.
Okay,
like he was going to be a MAC Player of the Year caliber guy.
I don't think we have to talk about this team simply based on the fact that I was told that Kyle Tucker ruined Kentucky basketball.
Okay, then we don't have to talk about them. I don't want to say anything more because I'm going to wait.
Who's creating shots right now? Who's creating good shots right now?
According to their fan base, the guy who they wanted murdered the night he was hired.
Minus 500 they flipped at the press conference.
Dude, they flipped before the press conference.
That guy went from a low-level high school basketball coach, low-level middle school basketball coach, to like the greatest coach of all time in like 3 hours.
Dude, they woke up the next morning and were singing his praises. That's why they waited until Sunday to do the press conference.
Yeah, just give them some time to, Twitter themselves.
It was basically for everyone to remember that, oh, wait, he played on the 96 team.
Can we start this new thing?
Okay.
I'm calling it the War Kentucky syndrome. Kentucky fans will find any reason to believe in themselves and their team and their program just because they're Kentucky.
Working
We are Kentucky, it'll work itself out. What do you think?
use it in a sentence.
It's not really something you could use into a sentence. It's just
So it's not is it a bit?
It's no, it's how it's how Kentucky fans explain things that people criticize.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, it's all good. Everyone's gonna hit their 100th percentile outcome because we're Kentucky.
Exactly.
No, I've legit been seeing that.
Everyone's saying that Kentucky was a Final Four contender and going to make the Final Four last year was simply because they were Kentucky and they had Kentucky across their jerseys.
Agreed.
Okay,
we're not talking about
another
LSU.
unserious team.
We're not talking about LSU.
I want to talk about them just because I have a friend who will be covering them next year, who I can send clips
Harrison.
to. Yeah, Harrison will be covering LSU next year.
If you're listening, Harrison,
he's not.
I know he doesn't listen to this show.
He does occasionally, but I believe he was out bowling tonight.
If he's no, but I mean, he could still be listening later, but he
sure. What excites you about this LSU team?
I think this team's awful.
I think their backcourt has a chance to be better than expected. That's probably the nicest thing I can say about them. Their front court is just an unmitigated disaster.
Cam Carter might lead the conference in scoring.
And Sears can score. Williams could break out. Curtis Givens is a solid backup point guard, and he's already ready for a backup point guard role because that's what he was at Montford. And that's nothing against Curtis Givens. Their starting point guard was Rob Wright, who is really good. This front court stinks. Let's move on. Sam?
Does Chris Jans just think that a bunch of 5'9" guys is gonna win in the league?
Okay, relax. Clary and Hubbard is good. They will guard nobody.
Clary, Hubbard, Harris, and Warren?
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Georgetown and Mississippi State play a game. Mississippi State would win, but that's only because
they would win 67-26.
But Mississippi State would only win because they have slightly better wings and aren't playing Thomas Sorber.
No, but Mississippi State's guards can beat you off the dribble, and they can suffocate you on defense.
I do still think it's having Cam Matthews still there is really important for this team.
They got Jeremy Fumena the other day, and that's a good pickup.
I'm currently looking this up because that is the first I have ever heard of this guy's name.
He was a really solid.
Rhode Island.
Yeah.
He played for Archie Miller. Out.
No, but he's their backup big. Michael Nwoko is their starter.
Yes.
I like Kogel, Melendez.
You like Melendez?
No. I don't like Melendez. I'm saying he's there.
Oh, okay. I actually
like
think
the idea of Melendez as a backup 3-4 with Kogel and Matthews starting over him. I think that's a good role for him. I think this is a tournament team.
It is.
I also thought Melendez surprised me this year. I thought he was a lot better.
I can almost guarantee you that this will be one of my like most watched teams this year, because like that backcourt's going to be so fun.
Talk about Missouri. I'm not. I don't really have anything to say.
Why do you not have anything to say? Do you? I don't think this team's like a total train wreck.
No,
like,
they're actually not bad. It's just that they're starting a guy at the 5 who I think should be playing offensive tackle for Alabama.
Marshall can move a little bit.
Yeah, exactly why he should be playing offensive tackle for Alabama. Offensive linemen have to move.
Yeah, I'd say start Trent Burns, but if that guy is if Peyton Marshall is playing offensive tackle for Alabama, Trent Burns should be playing center for Alabama A&M, and not like football center, basketball center.
No, yeah, I was not expecting a 7'3" football center. That would kind of be a crutch.
That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but he is a very clear prospect. Perkins, Warwick, I like Mitchell and Boateng. This team will be elite.
Cruz?
I'm getting there. Those four, this team will be elite at finishing around the rim. Cruz, Bates gives you your shooting. Robinson was like fine as a backup point guard last year for like not a highly rated freshman standards. Pierce is still, I think, a work in progress. I don't know how much these other freshmen are going to contribute outside of Boateng and Marshall because he has to. Also, Aiden Shaw should not be playing SEC basketball anymore.
I like Duke Miles a lot for Oklahoma. I think this team will shoot the crap out of the ball with Kobe Elvis, Bryson Goodine, Miles, Forsyth, all that.
I don't know if Forsyth's ready yet to play.
No.
But that kid can really shoot.
Is is Mo their starting center?
I mean, it's either him or Sam Godwin or Yaya Keita, which, if you know anything about the 2022 Missouri Tigers.
But I think Oklahoma's maybe a little better than I thought they were a week ago. Jeffin Lankwo gives them some depth on the wing with Jalen Moore and Jaden Jones.
I think one of the keys is like how close can they get to December Kobe Elvis?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because like if he's playing like he was at
hold on, why is Duke Miles listed as a shooting guard and Kobe Elvis listed as a point guard?
According to who?
The burner ball depth charts.
Oh, it's not. That's not the case. You want me to start on Ole Miss?
I will.
Okay.
I like Ole Miss.
Yeah, you like them better than me. Please go for it.
I just think it's a really deep team. They got athletes all over the place. Morrell could still come back. Brakefield is coming back. Padula and Juju at the 1 is a really good 1-2 punch. They got TJ Caldwell and Devin Barnes, and Matt Morrell could still come back, and that's a really good 3 guys that could play the 2. Dre Davis and Jamin Brakefield and Mikhail Brown-Jones and Malik Dia in the front court. That's a lot of toughness. That's a lot of athleticism. This team's going to be really tough to guard because they're just strong, athletic, and tough. And they can all get to the basket.
Very Chris Beard
really team. And Juju can really shoot. And all of them can shoot.
Very Chris Beard-esque team, I think.
I just think it's a really good team. Like at this team's ceiling, this team has as high of a ceiling as anyone in the conference.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to take a flight to Paris?
Do I?
I like Jamari Thomas. I think a guy that can play like that for a coach like Rob Jones, who demands toughness, can really play for a coach like Lamont Paris, who also demands
I mean, that's what this team was built on last year.
I like Colin Murray Boyles. I think he's going to be all SEC.
So is this team's plan just to like start like 3 centers?
No. CMB at the 4, Pringle at the 5, Cam Scott, Miles Studi, and Jamari Thomas.
How much of a drop off, if at all, do you think it is going from Michi Johnson to Jamari Thomas?
Well,
Or I
Michi
guess
Johnson was
I guess
not
Talon
their one.
Cooper to I guess Talon Cooper to Jamari
I
Thomas.
think Jamari Thomas is just as good as Talon Cooper.
Okay.
Maybe better, but the drop off going from Michi Johnson to Cam Scott is significant. I would say Jamari Thomas is better than Michi Johnson. I think Talon Cooper was better than Michi Johnson last year.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add here. I mean, Jordan Butler's a South Carolina native, but like, didn't really think he was anything special last year at Mizzou.
You talk Tennessee.
Dubar is like my favorite player in the portal. Like, you're not gonna like he's
He was mine too.
Yeah, I mean he's like, the reality is like you're replacing a lot here. Like it doesn't feel like
Akpara is as close of a replacement as you're going to get for Adu.
Yeah, but I don't think he's nearly as good.
No, not quite, but he could be.
Yeah, he could be. He's probably a little tougher than Adu. I'll give him that. Adu's criticism was like, you don't know if you're going to get like 100% Jonas Adu. Like it feels like there's more to Jonas Adu is what a lot of people said last year. But like Santi wasn't a huge loss considering he didn't give them much last year, and I think there were other reasons for that. But like Gainey had a good season coming over from Upstate. Bringing a point guard back that's as good as Zakai Ziegler is really key in this era of college basketball. I don't know how much more of a offensive ceiling you have with Meshack, but like I think you'll get more from Cam Carr as a sophomore. I liked him as a recruit. What do you think of Igor Milicic, Sam?
Should be a solid bench piece.
Okay.
You want to talk about Texas?
Real quick, for the starting lineup for Tennessee, would you go Ziegler, Gainey, Meshack, Dubar, Akpara?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to talk about Texas because they have a bunch of your boys?
They have 2 of my boys. Okay. I can't really decide with this Texas team. One day I wake up, I like them. The other day I wake up, I don't.
Agreed.
Pros.
Lockstep.
Jordan Pope, I think we said in like January, or at least you said that he needs to get the hell out of Oregon State.
Dude, I said that in October.
Are they really going to bring Julian Larry off the bench?
Yeah, and
you like Trey Johnson a lot less than
I guess I just don't know how good Julian Larry is.
And my other question would be, is Jason Kent a fit here?
I think Jason Kent's a fit in a lot of places where you wouldn't really consider him a fit.
Like, is he your Dylan Mitchell?
I think
for
he's
this
better
team.
than Dylan Mitchell.
Oh, I agree. And he probably gives you a little more as a shooter.
I just think that you want a little more shooting on this team.
If this team ends up being good, like if this team ends up being above like the 90th percentile for what Texas
Trey
could be,
Johnson would need to be really good.
would you say Trey Johnson needs to be their best player?
No.
Tremont Mark?
I could see it being Pope.
Okay.
But like I could see it being Mark, I could see it being Johnson. I see a bunch of different, but like Trey Johnson would have to be really good for that to happen.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's really good. 2 more teams.
A&M. How much better do you see this team being than last year?
I think this is the year they can break through.
I think they kind of broke through 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I don't know how much better they can get, but I like them more than I liked them, is what I'm saying.
I think
Like
they are somewhere
I think,
between 20 and 30.
I think Obaseki really turned a corner at the end of the season. And I feel better about them than I did really at any point last season. Right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, this team again is going to be able to attack the rim really well. They'll rebound. One of the best in the country at it. I think CJ Wilcher is probably your key here. Like, you need him.
I rank them 20 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I have them 27th.
Yeah, I'm higher on them than I have been.
I do really like Anderson Garcia, like a lot.
Oh, yeah, I think he's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon Washington's really good, too.
Yeah. I feel pretty good about this team making the tournament, at least.
Absolutely.
Like, their floor is really high.
You know who else I think could be a tournament team?
Vandy.
Yes. I love this idea of the fact that they can go 10 deep with Hogard, Edwards, Mannon, McLaughlin, Wright, Huffman, Hemingway, Collins, Nickel, and Carey. Edwards is a perfect fit next to a bigger point guard that can defend and that doesn't really look to shoot. Mannon can do everything on the defensive end. McLaughlin is a really good rebounder, shooter type. Kajani Wright and Jalen Carey, I'm a little concerned about at the 5, but I just think this team's 1 through 4 is really solid, and Grant Huffman's really good too.
Yeah, sorry. I think they're gonna play really fast with Hogard and Edwards.
They're gonna shoot a lot, yeah.
And they'll shoot a lot. I think this team's really deep, like you said, and we know Byington can coach. So, like, I think this is a better situation than what you had last year for sure. This conference is really good. I think it's getting wins.
It's easy to see them as an odd man out.
Huh?
It's easy to see them as an odd team out.
Yeah, that's my original thought.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they make the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be either. They're definitely going to make my top 100 pretty easily.
Take us home.
All right, that was a marathon of a show. Now we're sitting at an hour and 55 minutes right now.
We can do double that the night before the season, though.
Yeah, dude, because we're full of life and energy. This is May 18th we're talking about here. I mean,
30 minutes from May 19th. We'll do mid-majors maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow definitely a possibility. I gotta let you know about that tomorrow because I'm calling softball, but we will figure that out. But Thanks to everyone who tuned in, whether it was live at some point or after the show. This has been a marathon. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the boycott at Oklahoma State extending, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about Caleb Grill and what he's up to, you came to the right place. This is season 5, episode 4 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Thanks to everyone who tuned in once again. We'll see you next time.